Hey, yo, good morning. YouTube channel starts down again. Go hard or go home. Y'all know what the deal is. Okay, today I'm going to be telling y'all the legend of a guy named Stephen Q. Urkel. Okay, some of y'all might not know who that is, but I'm going to get to that in a second. All right. So, quick little thing about me. I've been doing some research on the manosphere, and I started releasing videos like this to try to show guys that they can fix some of the problems with the manosphere without doing through a bunch of junk like they are. One of the things that I think they're teaching a little bit too much in the doggone manosphere, is to chase women, overly chase them. Okay, try to raise their interest in you, all the other good junk, A, B, and C. All right, and that's what made me bring up this guy right here. Okay, before we get into it, y'all hit the subscribe button for me. I don't do that taking money to cash apps and all that stuff. Don't want none of that. Just subscribers. That's it. Okay. So you got that one out of the way. Let's talk about Stephen Q. Urkel. Okay, now back in the '90s, guys, there was a show called Family Matters. Okay, and it was a black show. Some of y'all may not know about it, but it was funny. You can go check it out on a couple you probably could find it now. You Google it and you could probably find it. Okay, because it's probably still considered very funny. But this guy in the middle is Steve Urkel. Okay, now, on the right of him, there, that should be how people can see it. Anyway, the lady here in the pink, this is Laura Winslow. And over here, the lady in the little jean top and such is Myra Monkhouse. Okay. Now, the way the story went was this right here. Steve, because I think this show was nine or maybe even 10 seasons long. It was a really popular show. So I mean, it stayed on TV for like 9, 10 damn years. And these people right here, this is when they were looking younger. It stayed on TV so long they started looking like adults. By the time the show was getting over. So basically, it was 9 or 10 years of watching Steve Urkel because that's really the main. It was really the main thing of the uh, show. Him chasing Laura Winslow. He did it every day. And every day he had another plan to get her. That's how that worked. He would be, I'm wearing you down. I'm wearing you down, baby. That's what he would keep trying to say. I'm just saying. What I got from the Manosphere though is that they started creating a bunch of Steve Urkels. Okay, and I want to kind of point out to it, like, okay, like she is two women in this, and even in the case of Steve Urkel, there was a woman that liked him even when he didn't like her back. One thing I try to tell the guys, ooh, this pineapple express is good. One of the things I just try to tell guys, I try to tell guys almost talk on this thing is that if she's not into you, you don't be into her. And I'm bringing up this story to kind of show because even when you look at this, there's other TV shows and stuff. I mean, but they all kind of tell the truth. In this situation, there was a girl that liked this guy, and he ran from the girl that liked him and still tried to keep the girl that didn't like him to kept trying to get her to like him, right? Which just made her run even more. So that was the gist of the story. But basically, if you really look at the bottom line of all this junk, what it's telling you is that you should not chase, you should always replace. And if you're going to take somebody, you need to take the person that takes you. If you don't, you will spend years chasing the wrong people. And that's what I get out of the manosphere. That's what I got out of it. I got out of it that most of them is going to spend the rest of their lives chasing people that didn't like them. And they were training everybody else to do the same thing, raise interest, do this or that. Back in the day, guys, people didn't have time to do all that shit. Uh, you asked her one time, and that was it. And then you was on about your business because if you didn't do that, you was gonna be wasting time. I think the thing with the social media, I want to bring that up a little bit too. I think it's ruined people. They don't understand that when you go out, when we had before social media, you had to do this jump face to face. There was no doggone I'm gonna send you a message in your Snapchat or your Kick or whatever, and then wait and see what you said. No, it was person to person. You didn't have time to keep chasing people because you probably were going to see you. You were going to see this person all the time. You met seen them one time, and then you ask them, and then you might see them again another few days or 3 months down the line, or one you might run into them again. But that would mean that you had to sit there and keep trying to with the same person, and you had to keep trying to find the same person. See, you couldn't just send somebody some shit to their phone. You'd have to try to find where they was at to go talk to them. And people weren't gonna waste all that time. You go ask them once or twice, and that was gonna be it, because you gonna have to keep trying to look this person up to ask them. A lot of the guys over there be saying social media made it harder. I don't think that it made it harder for them. I think it made it harder for them well, I said this right here. It made it harder for them in the fact that since they don't know how to get out there and talk to people straight up face to face, and they can keep sending the same person a message. I mean, like, it made it easier, but it made it kind of harder to me. To me, it just weirded it out. But I want to bring up the story of old Steve here, because what I got out of the manosphere was mostly guys. Well, you got to keep trying. You got to keep. You can raise their interest. You can do this and that. Nah, bro. You keep trying to raise somebody's interest, you gonna wind up like Steve Urkel. I watched Steve Urkel for 9 or 10 years chase that girl all Winslow through the show. And I don't think even in the show that they ever even wound up getting together. I don't think that it ever happened. And that's the way it's gonna be for a lot of other guys. That manosphere is it's going to bring them into that type of thing. They don't see that, and they don't think that it's that way, but it is. It's always been that way. Let me get ready to start closing this one out, right? I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all something. This ain't nothing new under the sun. I was just I told a little story with Steve Urkel to show that things are kind of still the same way. All right, it's still the same shit. Y'all got the internet now and all that stuff like that, but it's still the same as it was when I was walking outside to go talk to women. It's still the same thing. You ask them once, if they say no, let that go. You say no, let that go. That's what I would tell any guy. But don't be a Steve Urkel. One of the reasons why I don't really ask for the cash apps and take all the money and stuff, and because I want to be able to tell people what the real deal is, I started understanding that the world is starting to go away from reality. Men also in general. The manosphere to me is a very big indicator of that. You got a big bunch of group of guys who's sitting around trying to figure out, just like how that Steve Urkel guy was. That's what I saw. This is a bunch of Steve Urkels trying to figure out every day. Every day there's a video. Every day they're talking about it. Every day is just every day they're trying to figure it out. But there was nothing to figure out in the first place. There's nothing to figure out. If there was some pre-type of way of getting women, believe me, y'all, guys would have wrote this shit down years ago. It would be like like we got the Bible, we'd have that book too. And every man would read that one. There will be a book that explains exactly if you do this, the woman does this. If you do this, she does that. That book don't exist, y'all, because women don't conform to rules. They never have. And they never will because they're emotional. They will never respond. They will never uh-uh, correspond to rules or rule settings. Guys can have rules. Women, you cannot impose rules on women. They don't do that. Why? Because their emotions. And their emotions can change their feelings at any time. But the funny fact is, so here's a fun fact about the manosphere. They know that. They know that and they talk about it every day. But yet, even though they understand it, they still try to get women to conform to rules. And it's like, that's why I said some Steve Urkel junk. Because they know better and they try it anyway. That's why I said some Steve Urkel junk. That's why I brought up the Steve Urkel thing. Because they know better, but they try it anyway. Look, y'all, don't be a Steve Urkel. That's the easiest way of dealing with this. Don't be a Steve Urkel. You ask once, it get no response. Shoot, it's up to roll on right to the next one. It's probably somebody throwing himself at you, but you're not looking at that. And this works worldwide. It's the same thing. I saw this in other countries. I saw it when I went places. When I go on vacation here in the States, I see it when I go to places overseas. It's the same shit. The world over, no matter what language they're speaking, no matter what it is. I think that a lot of guys are gonna have to start understanding. As a matter of fact, when I get off of this one, I'm gonna go ahead and do a video about it. Guys are gonna have to stop downplaying the thing with how females are attracted to guys because that's changed, especially in America. Like, and it hasn't changed. That's the deal. They try to make that's another thing about the manosphere. They tried to make it look like it changed, but it did not change. Nothing changed. The only thing is that women got more vocal about them, their physical attractions and them and what they want up front. But it didn't change. It didn't change. They only got more vocal about it too, because it's like the manosphere is right about when women got jobs and stuff like that. It gave them and emboldened them a little bit. But see, the thing of it is I'm starting to believe that some of the things that women were saying that guys are intimidated by some of that manosphere shit is starting to make me think that they may be right. Because it's not that big of a deal, yet they make a big deal out of it every day. They Steve Urkel this thing every day. So that's my opinion of it. Don't be a Steve Urkel. Okay. Somebody not chasing you, you don't chase them. And somebody is chasing you, you show them some attention. But in Steve Urkel's situation, it didn't work that way. So he just kept after the same person, after the same person, after the same person. For all those years. And when I see the manosphere, to me, that's what they train guys to do. They training them to constantly try to raise people's opinions of them or whatever, whatnot, when you shouldn't even be doing all that. You get yourself to a certain level, and then they either gonna see it or they ain't. And if they don't, you don't tell them. If you gotta tell them, if you gotta start talking about it, if you gotta, and that's the thing. That was one of the main things about it. Like I said, it was the Steve Urkel thing. He kept trying to explain to her, dude, you don't. If you have to explain to the woman why she like you, I'm telling you, you lost. They would see the game coaches and the doggone men's rights activists and shit like this. They can't take because y'all paying them. Most of them y'all paying. They taking money and cash apps. Hell, I seen people with less subscribers than me. I only got around 377, moving on 400, and they already got cash apps on their doggone screen. But anytime that somebody's getting money from you, they got to tell you what you want to hear. That's why I don't ask for the money, because I know people don't want to hear this. I'm looking at the whole manosphere, and that's why I know they don't want to hear this, because they're still complaining about it. And if they heard this type of stuff, they would kill all their complaints. I could get rid of the manosphere in 5 minutes, and I'm gonna talk about that in the next video. So y'all just go stay tuned to that. But I'm out of here on this one. Y'all drop the comments of what y'all think. I'm just saying, don't be a Steve Urkel. Don't be a Steve Urkel. Stop chasing. Replace. That's what we used to say. Y'all be chase some. I replace some. That's what we used to do. Now it's become this whole thing of trying to raise their interest or trying to have some list of shit. Nobody was worried about that list of junk back in the day. You walked up to the girl, she either liked you or she didn't. And when guys start acting like that again, that's when they're gonna start getting results. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's been Taurus down and y'all go hard or go home. The legend of Stephen Q. Urkel. Don't be like him. All right. Y'all hit subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. I'm out. Peace.